Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, so first of all, let me thank to the examiners, Dr. Andrus Mahrum, MED PhD as my supervisor, and then Siska Mokori SSMU as my co-supervisor, and
Buhari dan Buhori ya.
Hastini
Buhori.
SVDMA as my reviewer, and the moderators, Muhammad Abraham Akbar and Seri MED for my president moderator for today's presentation of my research proposal. And also all of my friends, my beloved friends here, thank you for coming. And thanks for getting to present my research proposal is the syntactic study of performed in sentences produced by FL students at the local university. First, the concept of the background. Syntax plays a very significant role, especially in FL learning, in FL students, because it provides the structural foundation that allows them to construct coherent and complex sentences. As stated by Bendel 2025, syntax is essential for enabling students' comprehension because it's essential for students to combine words into meaningful units and well-formed sentences. In addition, several recent studies have also shown that mastering of syntactic knowledge can strongly contribute to the improvement students' writing ability, sentence complexity, and also the fluency in expression. In addition, the studies conducted by Ritonga and colleges Ramzan and Alan, and also Pimo and Nikolov also demonstrates that students with a syntactic knowledge tend to produce more advanced written output and communication fluently. Also, these findings underline the importance of investigating syntax, especially for EFL learners. And next is ideality of the background. Ideally, 5th semester students in English education study program should already have a solid mastery of grammar and sentence structure. This expectation arises because they already passed about 4 semesters during the previous semester. So they already been introduced from basic until advanced grammar, even the morphological class. So with this background, students are expected not only to make the sentence grammatically correct, but also fluently in their writing. So, furthermore, they should be able to apply performs appropriately to avoid unnecessary repetition and maintain cohesion. In other words, their previous learning experience should have equipped them with sufficient syntactic knowledge to use performs naturally and effectively. So, but if you look in reality doesn't always match expectations because many Indonesian EFL students still encounter significant difficulties in using performs correctly. They frequently overuse full noun phrases and instead of substituting them by using pronouns, or they misuse pronouns rather than due to interference their first language in their sentences. So we can say they fail to apply performs that substitute prepositional or adjectival phrases. As a result, their sentences often sound awkward, sentence redundancy and lack of fluency. So preliminary observation, as many students still struggle in applying pro-NP or perform noun phrase, pro-AP perform prepositional phrase, or pro-AP perform adjective phrase. So this reality shows a gap between what students are expected to achieve and what students are be able to perform in terms of syntactic competence. So between the ideality and the reality, the researcher or I guided by 2 main research questions of this research proposal, such as first one is what type of performance, particularly those replacing noun, prepositional, and adjective phrases, is the most difficult for students. And the second one is what are the challenging factors faced by students in applying performs correctly. by this research question is guided to or the objectives of the research. The first is to find out what type of performance, particularly those replacing noun, prepositional, and adjective phrases is the most difficult for students. And the second one is to find out what are the challenging factors faced by students in applying performs correctly. So there's the limited of this research. So the scope of the research is limited to 3 types of performs, namely Pro-NP, Pro-PP, and Pro-AP. And these forms are chosen because they are the most relevant in the context of student sentence production at the university level. And the study will not cover other types of performs such as Pro-Verb or Pro-Plus, as the focus here specifically on the noun phrase, prepositional phrase, and adjective phrase performs. Next is,
Can you just skip it, please?
Yeah, chapter 2.
3.
Chapter 3.
okay, so next is the chapter 3 research method. This study employs a descriptive method with descriptive quantitative method with a non-experimental design. The instrument of the study are a test and questionnaire, and the test will consist of 25 fill-in-the-blank items, 10 items targeting for Pro-NP, 5 for subject pronouns, and 5 for object pronouns for Pro-NP, and 10 items for Pro-PP, targeting 5 items of prepositional phrases of place and 5 of time, and 5 items for Pro-AP. And for the questionnaire, that will be designed to collect data about the internal and external factors in influence students' comprehension in applying performance with Likert scale, consisting of response categories coded from 1 to 4, such as strongly disagree, strongly agree, and agree. The questionnaire consists of total 60 segments, which is distributed proportionally across the 6 variables, such as cognitive ability, prior knowledge, interest and motivation, learning strategies, teaching methods, and learning environment. Next, population and sample. First, the population. Population of the research consists of all 5th semester students of the English Education Study Program who have been taking syntax course. From this population, the researcher will select the sample using purposive sampling from Class B in the 5th semester, who will serve as the official respondent of the study. And next, for the collecting data. For the collecting data, the first instrument is the test. First, which will be designed from 25 fill-in-the-blank items. And I have already mentioned before, 10 items for Pro-NP, 10 items for Pro-PP, and 5 items for Pro-AP. And the purpose of this test is to identify which type of performance is the most for those replaced in a sentence. And the second is the test will be administered under controlled conditions so that the students' performance reflects their actual ability. And after the completion, the final step is the answer sheet will be collected and prepared for analysis. And the second is for the collecting data of the questionnaire. First, designed based on the theory of factor students' comprehension in applying performance that will be supported by employing a fishbowl diagram to map out a variable in a structured manner. And to ensure that the questionnaire is both valid and reliable, questionnaire will be distributed to the 10 out of 39 students as the sample of my research. And the responses are used to check whether each item accurately measures the intended factor. And once the items are confirmed as valid, the third step is to carry out the reliability test to examine the consistency of the instrument. After the question is validated and shown the reliable, then the questionnaire will be redistributed to the entire group of the sample, especially for 39 students of my research or of my sample. And after that, finally, all responses from the participant will be collected and prepared for statistical analysis. Analysis, sorry.
The verb analyze. Noun analysis.
Okay. Okay, next is technique for analyzing data. First, the student's answer will first be examined in detail. Each answer will be classified as correct and incorrect, then grouped according to the type of reform, such as Pro-NP, Pro-PP, and Pro-AP. The frequency and percentage of correct and incorrect responses will be calculated by using simple tabulation in Microsoft Excel as a tool. And then this analysis makes it possible to identify which type of reforms is most difficult for the students, and this providing the answer for the research question 1. And the next is questionnaire. First, all responses from the 39 students, for 39 students, participants or respondents will be systematically collected, entered into SPSS program for processing through descriptive statistical analysis, and the result will then be examined to identify which factors such as cognitive abilities, prior knowledge, or motivation and interest, or so on, are the most dominant in influencing students' difficulties. And with this part is guiding to answer the research question 2. So, yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's a very... Alright, so now we move to the second session of this proposal seminar, which is the question and answer session. And first of all, I would like to invite the audience here. There are a lot of you guys here, so I hope there are some questions or valuable suggestions you can give to Zulfikar. You can raise your hand, please. Nobody. Oh my god. Lot of you guys, but do not provide anything. Alright, now we move. Yeah, thank you for not asking the question. Ma'am Hastini, PDMA, to give suggestions or...
I like your presentation. I like what you have explained just now. Now I know what is performed. Now I know why you choose perform to be the topic of your research. But, however, ada but ya, tetap. However, you don't bring it in your introduction as what is now. Why should you conduct research on this kind of topic? Yeah. Why is it important to learn perform? What is it for? Why should be syntax? Okay? Yeah. Because in your first paragraph, you write perform at the end of the paragraph, but you don't really talk about it in the previous sentences. So I wrote here, it is a sudden occurrence of reforms in that paragraph. Yeah? Okay. Right. And first paragraph, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You are talking about, however, their study as well as many other studies tend to focus on mainly on pragmatic function rather than the syntactic structures of reforms themselves. What do you mean by that?
Because
No, I'm not asking why. What?
so it can be seen in the previous sentences that the study from Mutia, Gali, Suraya, Zulfikar, Nur, and number 2022, they explore the pragmatic use of the pronoun be by UFL teachers in classroom interaction and found that even experienced speakers use performs to manage.
Excuse me, what do you mean by pragmatic? Pragmatic
So-
function.
Pragmatic function is for this research it function to show the gap between the study of the multi-adult and the colleges.
I know.
So,
Yeah, but you use the term pragmatic function here rather than the syntactic structures of performs themselves. I agree with that, but I think you need to explain what you mean by pragmatic function, okay? Yeah, so people know why is it important for them to learn syntactic structure of performance, yeah? Of course, not only for pragmatic function, but other things, yeah? Okay. Here on page 4, we talk about this often leads to awkward sentence construction, redundancy, or overly repetitive expressions that negatively affect sentence fluency and clarity. So if people or students have lack information about pronoun, they will have problem in writing fluency and clarity. Is that what you mean?
yes.
Okay. Yes. And well, actually, you should tell us the difference between Indonesian and English in using pronouns. Yeah. Okay. I mean, when we use it, what will happen in Bahasa Indonesia and in English? Is there any difference? Yeah. But just a slight information. You don't need to give us a yeah. Okay. Right. Actually, we have provided good proposal because it makes it difficult to ask questions. But on page 27, you are talking about internal and external factor, right? And in internal factor, you are talking about cognitive as what you have already listed, yeah, on page 28. But I like to add more information that on external factors, because you only wrote teaching methods and learning environments. I myself think that teaching and learning materials and also media play an important role in understanding certain material. Yeah? I mean, they also have a crucial function to look at the students' academic improvement. Yeah, like whether the material is suitable for the students, whether the material provided a good practice, provide good practice for students, whether the material is in line with the plan, like RPS. We have an RPS. Yeah, yeah. No, it's not lesson. Yeah. And what about the media? Is the media support the material that you are going to teach or not? Okay, so I think, yeah, this is a suggestion. You need to look at it again, yeah? Alright. And oh yeah, about the test. Do you think this kind of test can be answered by students or by your sample?
Yes. I use the test to answer the research question.
No. The question, you don't really answer my question. The question is, tidak boleh.
Putar.
Do you think that the student can answer this kind of question? I'm afraid you don't get the data that you need. Yeah? Let me give you example. Because this is not for your lecturer, for their lecturer. Yeah? The result is not actually for their lecturer. Then the student will answer probably. Yeah? The student will ask to submit their reports on time. However, my dog forgot to attach the. I can answer whatever I like, right? Can you provide like keywords for the students? Okay? Yeah. Just to guide them. But I know that in the instruction you have written down here, but the pronouns that you want the students to insert in the questions. But again, I'm talking about experience, yeah? Sometimes students don't like to read instruction. They just go directly to the question. So probably it's better if you write here or give them the clue. What do you want them to answer in that kind of sentence? Do you want them to answer by using pronouns? Then tell them just in brackets, pronouns. What pronouns? Yeah. Okay. And you have divided the test into Pro NP, Pro PP, and Pro AP in different number. Okay, because different number of pronoun, right? Okay, right. But you need to think about the guidance for students to give the data of to give the data that you need. We can discuss it later. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. You conduct validity test.
Yes.
Right. So which class? All classes?
So especially for class B and semester. For class B.
Class B. And okay, right. And which one is your sample? Will be your sample? Also class B?
We look previously in the population. So the population it must be fifth semester students who have been taking civics course, and the sample is guided by population, and the sample is actually for from class B in the fifth semester.
Okay, right. I think you need to look at whether they are taught by the same lecturers or not, because it also affects the students' learning and teaching result. Okay? Yeah. Like the one taught by Ma'am Siska and taught by I myself will be different. Okay? My students will smile a lot. How come? I think. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Alright, thank you very much, ma'am, for your questions and valuable suggestions to the examiner. Now I would like to invite the co-supervisor, Ma'am Siska Bohari, SSM Hum, to give questions or suggestions to the examinee. For ma'am, time is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Terima kasih.
Out.
Thank you.
Okay, Zulfikar. Relating to Ma'am has finished questions. Yeah, about tidak sopan. About pragmatic use on page 3. It looks like you do not know the definition or the concept of pragmatic itself, right? Pragmatic seems is similar to semantics, but different perspective. Yeah, both of them are talking about meaning. And when we are talking about semantic and pragmatics, they are talking about meaning. But in pragmatic, we focus on the context. That's why when Motiah and friends explore the pragmatic use of the pronouns, they do not care about the structure, the syntactic structure. Yeah, that's what they meant. And then you need to explore more about the pragmatic use here, since the reader of your scriptsy is a common people. That's why you need to explain a simple explanation about what pragmatic use is. And the writing system about the use of tense in background, sometimes you use present form on verb, but another time you use past form. For example, Bangli emphasized and Nanda Ismahani found. It's not consistent in English. I told you many times, be consistent when you use verb, especially referring to quotation. Yeah. And next we jump to chapter 3. Please open the slide. Chapter 3, the first slide on chapter 3. Okay, this one. You use descriptive quantitative. Sometimes we use descriptive qualitative. And then most of students here, especially in Bahasa English study program, struggle to understand what is the difference between quantitative and qualitative. And most of the students think if the study of the research is about non-experimental, it must be qualitative. No. Yeah. It means you have to see your research question. Show us your research question. Jadi buat yang lain dengar. Because sometimes 2 days or 3 days ago, I found an article from English study program here talking about qualitative study, but the content is about quantitative. Yeah, look at the research question. When you use what type of proform, yeah, is the most difficult for students. How you present the result?
By the percentage and the frequency.
By
The percentage
and
the frequency.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you use number.
Yes.
That's why it is called
Quantitative.
quantitative. Qualitative, we do not use number. It is not non-numeric data. Yeah. And then when you over a research question in your draft, you have to know the type of research question, how to answer it. You use number, but not number. And then you decide whether it must be quantitative or qualitative. Yeah. In research question number 2, how you present the result?
By the
Questionnaire. You get the data from the
responses
response by using
SPSS program.
by using questionnaire,
Using the questionnaire.
and questionnaire is analyzed by using
Descriptive.
SPSS.
SPSS program.
Yeah. You use SPSS program, but sometimes questionnaire can be used for qualitative, but different form of questionnaire. One is open-ended questionnaire, another time is closed. Ya, satu yang tertutup, satu yang terbuka. What is
Close
the
and
difference?
structured.
Close and open. In what kind of questionnaire you use, Zulfikar? Questionnaire open or close?
Close.
Close. Why close?
Because it has limited.
What do you mean by it has limited?
It has limited, especially for my sample. And then the questionnaire is called main data.
You limit the answer by using skala Likert.
Yes.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eh?
By
But
1 to 4.
Qualitative doesn't use Likert because qualitative use about description to get the meaning, the experience, the perception. That's qualitative. Ya, itu yang banyak yang salah saya lihat pemakaian, masih bingung mahasiswa di sini. And then why you think your research here should be descriptive qualitative?
Because after the findings that shows the percentage and the frequency, it must be described by using diagram, pie chart, also or table.
Diagram, pie chart, or table. And then how you analyze the data, the technique of analyzing the data?
At first, it must be distribute to the 10 out of 39 students about the test.
How you analyze the data, not collecting the data.
Okay, so first is they're entered into SPS program, and then will be examined which factors of my questionnaire is valid or they are, and they must, and they're, and if my questionnaire is checked as validated, and then the reliability must be redistributed to the 39 students of my sample.
That's to answer this is question number one or not?
Question 2.
How about number one?
Number 1 by using the test.
Yes. And then how you analyze the result of the test?
I grouped into which one the correct and incorrect answer from their answer sheets, and I collected the answer sheet and will be examined to the further statistical analysis.
Do you use statistical analysis?
Sorry, no, but I use the simple tabulation in Microsoft Excel as a tool of my research to answer the research question 1.
Why simple tabulation, not cross tabulation?
Because it can be simple from my title, sentences produced by FL students by using performs, and why I choose the Microsoft Excel because it only has one variable.
One variable. What is the variable you want to see?
The perform.
The perform. Okay. Difficulty on using perform. Okay. And then the objective of using descriptive quantitative. What is the objective of using descriptive quantitative? You wanna see what?
I want to see
the reason why you said about your research tends to use descriptive quantitative because you have the objective to see what?
to see the phenomenon.
To see the phenomenon. Okay? You do not compare the variable. Yeah? Variable, if you use experimental research. Yeah? And then here about constituent. Yeah? Since it is about perform, you have to focus on the constituent. Sometimes phrase and constituent, they look familiar, similar, yeah. But when I cross to your test here, yeah, I continue Ibu Hastini's question about the test. On page 45, look at Pro NP, part A, Item number one, you provide the students were asked to submit their reports on time. And then you focus on the NP. Yeah? The NP in this sentence, there are two NPs actually. Which one? The two NP is from the students until on time. There are two NPs.
The students and the reports.
And the reports. And then be consistent. If you focus on the constituent, do not write a test using one word. Because one word only phrase, not constituent. Constituent must be more than one word if you talk about constituent. If you talk about phrase, you can provide only one word. I told you in the class, phrase can be one word, but constituent cannot be one word. Should be more than one word because we want to see the relation between the modifier and the head. Yeah, and that's why I wonder about number two. We visited our parents last week. Everyone was glad to see blah blah blah. It refers to we or to the grandparents?
The grandparents.
The grandparents. Okay. Grandparents here, actually it is compound words. Yeah, not one word. Not two words, but one word because it is compound words. So it is better if you use what we call the terminal to show the constituent. Yeah, for example, we visited. They are determiner, our grandparents. So do not change only grandparents, but also our. Ya, jadi kan nggak mungkin kita bilang, oh everyone was glad to see them. Toh? Paham? Ya. So please try to provide in test. If you talk about constituent, the word must be more than one. For NP, for TP must be NAP. Paham? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for your valuable suggestions to examine. Now I would like to invite the supervisor, Sir Dr. Andes Mukhtar Marhum, MD PhD, to give suggestions or questions to examine. Well, sir, time is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Sir Abraham Lincoln, the chairperson
The first president.
and the first president. Now he's in Indonesia. The late Abraham Lincoln. Well, your topic is challenging. You are dealing with pure linguistics, not applied, no sociolinguistics, but the pure linguistics. And Mem Siska is the expert, her expertise in linguistics. Okay, Mem Sis just explain about research methodology. In this regard, she talked about quantitative approach and qualitative approach. I strongly agree with her when it comes to the issues in the qualitative and quantitative approach. There are lots of students, even few lecturers maybe, possibly, don't understand yet the difference between, because many years academic atmosphere in Indonesia have been dominated by quantitative approach, statistics. So American minded. But recently, over the last, let's say, few decades, even lecturers from medical schools, from mathematics, when they do research, they use case studies, qualitative approach. I would add qualitative approach is associated with numbers, interpretation. and it is a process oriented. Meanwhile, quantitative approach is associated or refers to numerical data. Yeah? While qualitative words and interpretation, and in quantitative approach, numerical data, numbers, and product oriented. And what Ma'am Siska said, that many students misinterpret the concept of quantitative approach. They thought that when quantitative approach only refers to experimental research, what about correlation studies, inferential, inferential. And we have also descriptive statistics, that inferential statistics when we deal with correlation. And data analysis is different. Quantitative approach, you collect the data. For example, in experimental research, you treat the students, give treatments, and then pre-test, post-test, and then collect data, analyze data analysis. Comes to the data analysis. But in qualitative approach, the data analysis ongoing from the beginning of research project starts to the end. So that's ongoing data analysis. When you collect documentary data and analyze, you obtain few observation data, participant observation, or whatever related to the instrument technique of data collection in refers to qualitative approach. So you do ongoing data analysis. Okay, it just reminded me, I read your research questions and I found the research question is associated with qualitative approach. What, how, when? What, how?
Sometimes how can be quantified.
Yeah, it refers to the process, not the product. You reverse and you use questionnaires. Ma'am, clarify. Is it Likert or qualitative? Yeah. Structure. Clause and structure, that's Likert. Open-ended and semi-structure, that's qualitative descriptive. I think those who handle qualitative research need to give you in-depth or insight of research, qualitative research. Sorry? Yeah, you should post qualitative and quantitative. Okay. When Ma'am explained about semantics and pragmatics, then it reminds me to the late, he's a linguist, he used to teach us linguistics, I forgot his name. He's an American graduate. Once he said, okay, when you say the dog runs, it's okay, acceptable. But what about the buffalo climbs the trees? Grammatically correct. What about the meaning? And then if I say the goats can climb the trees and you don't believe it, what about the goats in Morocco? The goats in Morocco, let's go viral, it went viral. Goats in Morocco climbed the trees and ate the fruits. Just like what? Yeah, they can climb the trees. That's also you need to explore. You need to explain. And I would say that the difference between qualitative and quantitative approach, in qualitative approach, it deals with exploratory. That's why the words explore or investigate. In quantitative approach, explain. That's why it is called explanatory research. Okay, go on. Grandmother prepares lunch for the family. The cat sleeps on the sofa. Do you know what's the difference between transitive verbs and intransitive verbs?
Yes.
She sang a song, a beautiful song. She danced. The verbs have different categories. One transitive and the other one is intransitive. What's the difference? You need to know that the transitive and intransitive. Memsika knows much in depth. The winner is my brother. The sky is cloudy. The predicate, and the pronoun. I think you need also to have just like we have English is foreign language. It's not our mother tongue. It's European language, and the structure, the syntax are much different from Indonesia, from Malay, especially modifier. Adjective or modifier. When we say buku baru, in English buku baru. Beautiful, new book.
Book new.
Celana dalam.
In apa?
In English menerangkan diterangkan. But in bahasa Indonesia
Diterangkan.
boleh belajar menerangkan diterangkan. Akhirnya ke mall mau beli bukan celana dalam tapi dalam celana karena bahasa Inggris menerangkan diterangkan harus modifier in English comes before noun. I think it is also interesting to
Modifier and modify.
ya modifier and modify yang memberi keterangan dengan yang diterangkan. DM Darwis Mustafa, NMD Mustafa Darwis. That's delay. Questioner, you've got repetition. I think you need to delay.
This is the
Question.
content. Apa saja yang ada di dalam.
Questioner. See?
Mabuk dia.
Questioner, you need to.
Ya, betul.
Okay, next. What about fishbone? Yeah. Fishbone of
Ikan apa?
ikan bolu atau
Ikan asin.
what's the function? What's the purpose of drawing fishbones?
Fishbone diagram is
Yeah,
the function to make out the variables of like factors, the
To
theory of factors.
display.
As far as I'm concerned, that's okay. Fishbone also used for road map, to describe road map. If you have
To show the content of
the content,
for each variable.
a variable, and you have only one variable,
One variable.
not effects and
Talking about not
cause and effects, No. Okay, very interesting, ma'am. Research proposal. You must follow the timeline of research proposal. You can manage your time if you rely on research schedule. If you ignore your research schedule, then you cannot spend your time effectively to complete your research project. But it is very important to rely on the timetable.
Any
Proposal.
finding seminar
Well, yes, that's the
for
point
the
of seminar.
new rules now?
Oh, the new-
Article, no need
finding
to.
seminar.
yeah,
No
find-
finding seminar.
But
Publish-
what
Publication.
about publication?
It
But
depends.
should be presented.
It depends on
Should be
the
presented.
I
yeah
Should be
on the
I
policy.
don't know if it should be
Yeah.
presented.
If you decide to have manuscript publication, then I don't think you need to
Do find
present your findings. The
What
new
about
the new
the
rules, the
article?
new regulation.
The article that before published, yeah, should be present it in like different classes? events?
We need to talk to the head of the study program.
The procedure.
The procedure, right? Okay. Yeah. That's. I repeat. You need to consider your questionnaire is quantitative approach questionnaires. It is structured and close. In qualitative approach, the researcher have open-ended and semi-structured. That's the difference. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Back to the chairperson.
Thank you very